Okay, so I literally just finished drawing this, and I want to talk about some design choices that went into this, but also give a bit of background. I was trying to figure out, as I've been researching Osmodeus and such, why does this energy feel so familiar? Who do I know this energy through, and like why does this energy feel so familiar to me? Because like I only started connecting as a sorcerer myself with the energy of Osmodeus this month, November mostly, but I'm like, this feels so familiar, and I'm like, I realize what it is. First off, mythologically, his dad is Samael, who is my main like patron guy I work with, and then secondly, he is like connected to a different spirit I know who's like a lesser, smaller version of him. But I also realized that in my dreams, before I even had connected to him, I was having dreams of red devils. I was having dreams of like, well, there was one dream where there was this like humanoid, he was human in one dream, and he had sunglasses on and like bright red hair and a red suit. And past abusers in my life were like sitting on a couch in front of me, and I was in like a younger form, like a teenage form, and the past abusers who had like tortured me in my past, the guy who groomed me, and also the narcissistic family member who I was raised by, were laughing at me, and this demon guy was like in front of me protecting me from them in the dream. And at the time I had that dream, I even drew it afterwards. I kept drawing the demon, and I had a date that day with someone who I had met who I thought about being friends with, but it just didn't end up really working out because they weren't really interested in dating, and I tried to be friends, but they never reached out to me. It was sort of like I just had to reach out to them. But I had been drawing drawings based on the dream I had of the like guy who had protected me from my past abusers in the dream. And then I also had these other dreams where like someone was sort of like they sort of like sternly poking fun at me, like someone was sternly like pointing out flaws in my life, but in an actually helpful way that was helping me through things. And that dream where there was like a devil poking fun at me was like a nightmare where they were helping me sort of escape like a trap. Like I was trapped in someone's basement. My wrists were bound. My legs were bound. I managed to escape from the binds, but then there was no exit. I couldn't go up, I couldn't go down, and so I rebound my wrists, and then this like devil guy who was a red demon was like kind of poking fun at me, like, why would you put yourself back? It's worth fighting to escape, essentially, was like the message, I think. And it was sort of playful, even though it was a horrifying nightmare. And it was also like in that dream there was like a generational systemic abuse that had been happening from like, it was this huge kind of conspiracy where there was like these evil um these evil old white men essentially who had been like trying to turn humans into ink and make people into ink, and I was one of the people they were going to torture and turn into ink, so using my blood to create a new, like, to create the, like, I guess balance in the world, but the balance of the world came at the expense of all the minorities' blood, and it was like pretty fucked up. But yeah, like this demon was helping me fight through it. And then there was another dream I had where like there was this big red demon, and then the like crumbling of a castle or tower, and all after all these dreams I woke up feeling like I had been fighting through something, but like in a good way. Even though it was horrifying and scary, it was like this demon was helping me face fears and overcome them, essentially. Like there's all these horrible, awful shit happening in the world, but you are capable of fighting it, and you shouldn't just let people get away with it. It was like core themes, I think, in these different dreams. And it was like, that's how I fucking knew him before I knew him. I realized, because I was dreaming about him. And then I have actually like a little thing that looks just like my drawing, kind of, but in a different way. The drawing I did here is inspired off of a little like incense burner I have that is based on the Loteria, I guess, like, Spanish cards that is, like, their version of tarot, sort of, or it can be used for tarot, but it's also used for other things. And, in that one, I was like, this kind of looks like the guy in my dreams. It is the guy in my dreams. And here's how I know that it's Osmodeus. Because he has a chicken's foot and a hoofed foot, and that's indicative of Osmodeus. And that's why in my drawing, I gave him the Ring of Solomon as a necklace. but also I was reading just this morning like an article or something, and in the article that was from like the 1930s, it's either from 1930 or 1931, and in it might be a chapter from a book possibly as well, but in the thing it was talking about all these different like myths about Osmodeus, and it mentions that he is like, when he's in a human appearance, he's like perfect except he has a limp, and that's because his demon form has a chicken foot. And so that's why in my drawing I gave him like a mobility aid to help him walk, because to me that speaks to sort of being like disabled, and as a disabled person myself, although I'm developmentally and mentally disabled, not physically disabled, I wanted to like sort of like lean into that a bit in what I had read in my design.